Good Monday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. The anniversary of September 11th, today. A day that means quite a bit to Keith Smith, the star of the talk show, the man whose name is on the banner. We will honor those who have fallen on today's program. Judah Wickhauer, if we can welcome Keith Smith to the program. Keith, I know this day means quite a bit to you.
It's a little difficult for me today, but we're gonna muscle our way through this, just like the 343 firemen that went up to two towers. Most of them knowing they weren't going to make it home that day to see their family. So those who do not know, I am the son, grandson, and the great-grandson of a New York City fireman. Most of the people that I grew up with, they either went into the fire service or into the police department. So personally, knew quite a few people that did not make it out that day, because that's just who you grew up with. And in the apartment building you're in, half the people were either cops or firemen. It's just the way life was back in the 60s and the 70s. Also want to pay respects to a gentleman by the name of Rocco Camaji. Now, Rocco is a family friend, part of the family. So those of us who are a bit Yankees, I think this may be a Southern thing also. There's people in your life that have been in your life for generations or for tens of years. You call them uncle, they just become family. Well, Rocco was a window washer on the North Tower on that fateful day and didn't make it home. So if you do a little bit of Googling, take a look at the interview we did with Vinny, his son, in 2020, where he called us in live from 9/11, and I've always honored that he put Fox News put them aside to talk to us. But if you got a moment, take a time to listen to that interview, scroll through it. You could just Google it. It pops up on YouTube pretty darn quickly on it. But please go ahead and do that. Particularly at the end of it, seeing you and I got a bit emotional. And if you ever really want to know who Keith and Jerry are, right? We do this 3 days a week, right? We get in front of a lot of people. But watch the last several minutes of it, and if you ever really want to know who we are as people, those last few minutes tell the story. I didn't really have anything really prepared today, but just don't forget, right? And if you can do anything today, go out and be kind to somebody, right? Just if it's just for today, put together. We've kind of gotten into this world of us and them and left and right and whatever, but take a walk around there. I gave a hug to the person who runs the, I've forgotten her name, Jerry can save me on this, at the parking garage, said thank you for all you do. Reach out to somebody, say thank you, spend some time with them. It's your most precious asset. Again, I really didn't have too much to kick in for the show, other than this one fact. We are fast approaching the same amount of firemen that have died since 9/11 from 9/11 related diseases. We're around 330 something, somewhere around that number, and there are roughly 5,000 people have died since 9/11. So we lost a little less than 3,000 since 9/11 to 9/11 related diseases. There are, as of got, there's a little over 5,000 people that have died from that. And these are folks that showed up to try to find brothers and sisters or try to help anybody else out on the pile that have died from that. So that's just a little bit of a sobering fact. But I'm going to let Jerry save me here before I tear up a little bit. But I just wanted to start the show off today. Please don't forget. I know as time goes on, that happens. But there are the fact that 5,000 people have died since 9/11. There are people suffering still as from 9/11 related diseases. So
I just got a direct message from our talented and enterprising and versatile director and producer, Judah Wickhauer. I believe you have the Rocco interview.
Yep.
Fantastic, Judah. Great work. I want to play the video the interview he's referencing, the son of a window washer whose father died on September 11th. This was, how long ago we did this interview?
2020.
Yeah, so 3 years ago.
And the story about Rocco is an American story. He was an immigrant from Albania. It was actually got out of Albania in 1969. So to put that in historical preference, just think about where the world was in 1969, and that part of the world was communist. So he had to get out of that country in 1969, come here, and he was a window washer, and that's what he did. And there's a little story that Vinny will tell that his wife, Rocco's wife, always thought that he was washing windows on the inside of the thing, and then found out through an interview that Rocco did he was actually outside. So he's hanging outside of these buildings, 1,300 feet, whatever how tall the buildings are, washing the windows. And unfortunately, that morning he was doing that very thing when the plane crashed into it.
We'll play that video shortly. Before we do, on this 9/11 anniversary, we have a video from good friend of the program, Ray Cadell. Ray Cadell is a realtor. He's a talented musician, all-around fantastic human being. He sent us a video today of him playing taps, and I think it's a fantastic way to start a show whose theme is never forget. Never forget. Judah Wickower, if we can go to Ray Cadell on the horn, that would mean quite a bit to Keith. Certainly you and I as well. We are in your hands, sir. Just give us a cue. That's Ray Cadell doing one of the things he does better than anyone on this planet. Ray Cadell, we are grateful for your video and for your talents, and we are truly, it's our pleasure to be able to commemorate this anniversary by showcasing one of the best horn players there are out there. Judah Wickower also has an interview we did from 3 years ago with Vinny, his father, the window cleaner that Keith was just mentioning. Murder during 9/11. We'll play this interview in a matter of
It was a very
moments.
good choice of words.
Before you have an opportunity, before we play this video, would you like to set the stage a bit more for us?
Yeah, so like I said, Vinny and the Kamash family are close families. We're related in the way of friendship, and you know they adopted us and we adopted them into our family. We've known them for decades, and you know I on the 2020, and just put it in perspective what we were doing in 2020. We were fighting COVID, right? We're in the middle of COVID, and I you know, to Jerry and Judah, I came up with this idea of doing a live show and call in Vinny as he was actually on his way to 9/11 services at down, you know, at the tower. I've got to keep it together here, Smith. At the where the towers at down mid Manhattan. Anyway, on a personal note, he actually put Fox News aside to talk to us. So it's an interesting story. He tells a story, and I really rather let his words talk for us. And it's just a reminder that this day or that day impacted us all. And you know, we need. I've been trying to think about what to talk about today, and it's been bothering me. I was on a bike ride for 2 days. I rode 200 kilometers just to try to think about how to talk about today. And I think one of the things, and this may get me into a little trouble here, one of the things that concerns me is after 9/11, we all came together. We don't seem to be that way right now. And I don't know why. I wish we were. I wish we weren't so divided in things. But maybe if we can bring a little bit of what happened just after 9/11 as far as the country coming together and people of different opinions came together to celebrate this country, that would be wonderful. So I think I'm going to shut up now and let the video go because I'm just getting a bit emotional here.
Vinny Kamaj, you ready to rock and roll here, Judah? This was from 3 years ago on Real Talk with Keith Smith during a pandemic.
This is the YouTube video.
This is the YouTube video. This is our interview with him?
I believe this is the,
This is the whole thing. We don't want to do the whole thing.
no, this is the,
You got your mic on and the camera and a 3-shot?
So while he's doing that, I'll talk a little bit. For those who are listening, a couple quick questions out for everybody. So how has 9/11 impacted your life and your perspective on life, right? If somebody can chime in on that. For me, it was personal, very personal, and impacted my life very well. I was thinking of this morning, Father Judd, who was the first recorded death. And so he was the pastor or the priest, whatever you want to call it, chaplain for the fire department. And I knew him as a boy growing up. I actually was an altar boy that served under him. And he was killed, murdered, actually administering last rites to somebody has fallen, and then somebody who jumped fell on top of him and killed him. So he was the first recorded. And there's just, the Vigiano family, the Ielpi family, just all these families that I knew as growing up, the Kamaj family, that it still impacts them and they're still there. So, if you see somebody, go buy them a cup of coffee and say hi. Even if you don't know them, just try to be nice and try to be, a little understanding to the other side, because life is way too short, as we found out on 9/11, and a lot of folks can be taken away from us very, very quickly.
All right, so I'm going to ask this on air. This is live programming here. Do we have the rights to play this video? Is this the interview that Keith and I did?
no, it's not the
Okay, because we can't play interviews
Yeah,
with
okay.
other people, Judah,
So,
as you know.
yeah, so just do yourself a favor. Just Google it. It's a long show. It was an hour and a half show on it. There's a portion of it in there that, and this is unfair to Judah, then I apologize for doing this to you at the last minute, but there's a portion in there of this interview with Vinny. But then there's the last end of it. And the reason why I think the last end of it is so important was a discussion you and I had about your father, about family, and how we both started tearing up, because after Vinny, the next thing was I interviewed my father and Chief Constantino from Lake Monticello Fire Department. And, I think we ended the show with, go reach out to your father, go reach out to your family members. If you haven't done that in a while, go and do that. Say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, how you doing? If you're blessed to have them with you, as I am at this point, or family members or somebody you haven't talked to in a while, just try to go out and do something kind today. And I think if you can do that, these people that rushed into a building would have not died for nothing. That's what was troubling me. And I don't know how you talk about this on a live talk show and not get emotional about it. But, there was people that stopped what they were doing. They were New York City firemen, policemen, rushed into a building to get people out. And I haven't had a chance to look at the stat, but the amount of people that they saved is off the charts, right? It should have been a lot worse than a little less than 3,000 people that died, because they were able to climb the stairs, open doors that people were locked behind or in fire situations, and get them down and out of the building, knowing that any moment the building was going to come down, another plane was going to go. They had no idea what was going to happen at that point, but they went and did that. And, you ask yourself, at least ask myself, if I would have went on the New York City Police Department and would have transferred to the fire department, would I run up those set of stairs? Would have you ran up those stairs? Would have you go ahead and put your life on the line to help somebody else? And my wife reminded me of the service I did, and I think I would have done it. I've actually put myself between bullets and people when I was in the Marine Corps, and did it. Now, for those fellow Marines out there, you actually think bullets bounce off of you sometimes, and that's probably part of the ethos of what they did going up. But, would you go do this? Would you, in today's world, as divided we are, would you stop what you're doing to help a stranger? God, I hope so. I hope we haven't lost that. If we have, then that's just beyond scary. So I'm looking for my buddy Jerry to save me because I'm babbling here. So save me before I lose it a little bit more.
We'll play as much of that as you can, Judah. Yep. Just give me a heads up when you have that video ready to go. It'll start with Vinny and our interview with Vinny on his way to Fox News. Just follow the instructions that I just DM you if you could. This day means quite a bit to Keith, as anyone knows, quite a bit to the country in totality. Vanessa Parkle says, I remember your show from 3 years ago. It was very moving.
Thank you.
I think we should play what we did 3 years ago. Real Talk is taking on a life of its own. I get stopped by quite a bit of people with reference to Real Talk because of its authenticity, and I think a lot of that has to do with Keith. And he wears, if you watch the program, his emotions on his sleeve. He is a passionate guy. And one of the things you'll realize over time with doing a talk show like this, where there's no commercial breaks, there's no time to really catch yourself and reset yourself and put your emotions in check. When you go an hour and change without stopping, you're going to see raw and real emotion in its finest and its worst.
And Smith make up new words.
And Keith is going to occasionally use words to describe data that may or may not have to do with fornicating. And that's what happened last week. And our mayor made sure to spotlight across his social media.
Oh, my God. I was embarrassed and laughed my butt off at the same time. I let autocorrect get the best of me. But in a way, the word that I use kind of...
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, thanks for keeping me straight.
But
I appreciate that.
we do have data here with some corrected terminology on there.
Yeah, and pretty.
Do you want to let them know what the word was that you?
No, I don't, because I'll probably screw it up because Smith says to do that. But yeah.
When you're riding your bike over the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, to honor the many military men and women who have unfortunately committed suicide and to raise awareness for this, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I wanted to give back. We lose on average 22 veterans to suicide a day. I'll repeat that number. We average 22 suicides of U.S. veterans every day. And I rode with a patch on the back of my bike and a Marine Corps flag talking about this. And it was really... It was really heartwarming. I did 2 100-kilometer rides, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And 2 things came into mind. The old guy in the back puffing in 4,000-foot elevation changes on both days, trying to focus and get it done. And then it's much like running a marathon or whatever. Then you have these bicyclists come and bash you and pat you on the back and go, "Way to go, Marine. Thank you for saying, thank you for doing this." It makes you humble. The other thing that was going through my mind is the enormity of what you and I do 3 days a week. It hits you, and we joke around, and I make up words, and I use words I probably don't even understand half the time on it, and we just have a lot of fun. We be authentic and honest. but we're approaching 550. By the way, yeah, we're approaching show 550, and the enormity, at least in my world, for me, what I do and what we do here, and the impact it has. You mentioned people. I was up in a CEO event. I was out in California. People watch this, and you think you sit here. To your point, you sit here for an hour, hour and a half. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. We've got Judah through our peripheral vision. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many cameras. Dozen cameras.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cameras.
8.
Yeah.
Did you count that
8
one?
8 cameras, yeah.
8 cameras. 8 cameras, 2 microphones. And, you know, when you speak in front of a crowd of a couple hundred people or whatever, you can read the crowd. You can look at the eyes. You can look at the body language. But at this point, we're talking to people that we don't even know, it's, at least in my brain, that I don't even know is there. You know, and what you say matters. And you've taught me that over the years. What you say matters, and be authentic. I've learned that a long time ago.
And I'll tell you, for those watching the program,
thanks for the save.
It's going to get more significant, what we're doing on this network, as you know, as legacy media, radio, television, and print falls by the wayside. What we're doing here is going to be prioritized even more. And you know, how many times do you check Facebook every day? How many times do you check LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter every day, Threads every day?
Yeah.
Dozens, if not hundreds, for people.
Yeah. It's the long format thing too, right? That's what makes the difference. And when we bring in people to interview, it's even better. But today I really wanted it just to be me and you, and just have a conversation about 9/11. Maybe see if we can tie it a little bit into housing here in a little while. But you know, I just wanted to get the message out of today of all days. Just go out and be kind to somebody, right? Doesn't matter what they look like, who they are, what they believe in, what they don't believe in. You know, is it you're different, they're different. Just go out and be kind to somebody. And the smallest of things matter. A hug. Hey, thank you for what you do. I say this all the time. You know, it seems like everybody's bitching and moaning and yelling at everybody, but you don't hear a lot of, and I do it a lot. Hey, Jerry, thank you for what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I make it a point to do that.
I think he's got the interview with Vinny Kamaj ready to go. So this was from 3 years ago on 9/11.
Thank you, Judah.
Smith and I talking with Vinny Kamaj, his father, a window washer on one of the towers, murdered in a terroristic attack. Judah Wickower, we're in your hands. If you could play that when you're ready. Good Friday morning. My name is Jerry Miller. Welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you kindly for joining us. We're live in Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Today is a day that we will honor those who have fallen on September 11th, and we will do so by reaching out to the network of the distinguished gentleman, a well-connected individual who often takes the spotlight from him and his business and shines it
Are we starting to cry already? And we're not even into this for a couple minutes.
on people that deserve it. Judah Wickower is our director. Keith Smith is our star. A gentleman that you can tell I respect a lot. Good morning.
All right, so how about them Mets?
We got this.
Yeah, we got this. We'll do this.
Introduction, please, to your friends
So
and family.
yeah, so I am. Thank you for that kind set of words. I'm blessed just to know some awesome people, right? And I'm blessed to be around some awesome people.
about it some.
Yeah,
the spirit, the grit.
Yeah. So when we moved out to Long Island when I was a young boy, right? So we started in Queens and Brooklyn and all that stuff. But we used to travel, So the neighborhood, I never really bummed around with the actual next door neighbors because we were always around the group of other firemen. We always just did things. We would, the wives would go together and obviously as kids we would be brought the kids along. So. Anyway, let me see. What do I got?
He's ready. I'm going to reach out to him now.
Good. I've been babbling. Thank you.
Vinny, we have you on the line. Thank you kindly for joining us on the show, sir. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn you around to Keith Smith.
Okay.
He is in the city as we speak. Keith Smith, Vinny on the line here.
Vinny.
Hi, Keith. How you doing?
What are you doing, brother? You got to lift your phone up just a little bit so I can see the top of your beautiful head. There you go, man. Look at that gorgeous face. I've been ad-libbing for 15 minutes, brother.
I apologize.
So what happened? You get stuck on in the Grand Central?
West Side Highway.
West Side.
They shut it down here, and I decided to take it, and I got caught. I got caught in the traffic. I apologize for the delay.
No, you never apologize to me, brother. So, look, I know you got a Fox interview coming on soon. So, thank you for agreeing to talk with us beforehand. So, I tried in my best way to talk about your dad, right? And I failed at it for sure. So, what I like to do is first take 2 seconds, tell us a little bit about you, right? Tell us a little bit about your dad. And wherever you want to take it from here, brother. This is your time to celebrate Dad.
My name is Vincent Kamaj. I'm going to be 42 years old on September 28th. I go down to the memorial every year. This is the 19th year since my father's passing. My father was Rocco Kamaj. He was the window washer of the World Trade Center, the outside windows. He was he considered himself the king of the World Trade Center because he was always on top. And one of his biggest quotes was, "It's just me in the sky, just me in the clouds up here. Nobody bothers me, and I don't bother anybody. It's just me in the clouds up here." And it's 19 years later, Keith, and you really never forget.
Yeah.
It's something that's not just today, but it's for the rest of my life, and it's every day that I find myself still mentioning my father and talking about my dad, or saying, "Oh, Dad would have said this," or "Dad would have wanted this," or it's 19 years later, and it's still so real.
So before you came on, Jerry and I were like, okay, we got to keep it together. We got to keep it together. We got to keep it together.
I'm thinking about cutting the grass.
Keep
it together.
Yeah, I can't. I'm trying to hold back the tears, brother. Your family means so much to my family, and we won't get into the whole details of that. But tell us a little bit about Dad. Right, Dad was an immigrant, right? Came over from the former Yugoslavia, if I remember correctly.
Yes, my father was born in Yugoslavia. We're ethnic Albanian. He came in September 17th, 1969, and my sister was born September 18th, 1969, the very next day.
Oh, good Lord.
My father started, came here with the American dream. I think when he first came, he wanted to go back because he didn't know the language, and it was very difficult. And one of his first jobs was working as a window cleaner for John F. Kennedy Airport. And somebody offered him a job at the World Trade Center, and it was more money. And he said, "You know what? I'm going to try it." He took it, and we actually have him on video quoted. He said the first day, he was afraid. He was scared. He didn't want to come back. He said, "I don't think I'm going to go back to work the next day." And then 2 days later, he said it was like nothing. It became the norm. He had told my mom that he was washing the windows inside, not the windows outside, because
That's right.
she knows she would have been nervous. And my mom actually found out that my father was washing the outside windows because my father was on the front page of the Daily News,
That's right.
and there was a big picture of him with his squeegee. It was him and his squeegee, and that's how my mom was walking to work and just happened to look at the newsstand and saw my dad's picture.
Oh God, he must have
And,
got the living daylights beat out of him when he got home. Oh.
He said ever since then, he said she doesn't trust me anymore.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah,
Look, I know you're recently married, right? And congratulations to the birth of your daughter.
Thank you so much, Keith.
I've been married 35 years. I'm going to give you a little secret, right? You know this already. They're going to find out anyway,
Yeah, right.
right?
Just tell
So
the truth, right?
you might as well just tell them. They're going to find out, right? You're going to slip, or they're going to. I mean, they're
Hear
going
it through the grapevine.
They're going to walk down the street and look at a newsstand and
Yeah.
go, "Holy shit!"
Yep.
Right? It was funny on the way in. I was thinking of a story. So a little bit of family connection. How Vinny's connected to us. My oldest daughter Yasmina's husband Harry and Vinny are best friends, and that's how we ended up getting together some 100 years ago. And so, do you remember the story when Harry came over with Yvonne, our youngest daughter, to your family gathering, and all the cousins and stuff were giving her a hard time, thinking that Harry brought over a new girlfriend?
I remember it like yesterday. They all gave Harry dirty looks, and were like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And I was like, "No, that's Yasmina's sister." And then they were okay with it. But at first,
Because
Harry
they love Yasmina over in your family.
oh my God! We
So
all
just
loved
imagine
Yasmina.
that. Yvonne, my youngest daughter, 26, she's a
pretty gal.
a Division I swimmer,
yeah.
built pretty well.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my son-in-law bats into his family gathering and introduces Yvonne and kind of forgets the rest of the conversation, right? Oh, this is my fiance's sister. So
Everybody was upset.
there you go. I think Yvonne, our youngest daughter, kind of loved it. She, oh, look at me, She was doing it. So dad immigrates, lives the life story, right? American dream, gets a
Yep.
job on the thing. We're going to embed the story about dad in the feed so people can really learn about his life story.
I appreciate that.
This is a difficult question to ask, but tell the story 19 years ago today. There was a phone call that your dad made.
Yes. My father called from Tower 2, and he kept trying to get a hold of my mother, and at the time the phone was busy. Every time he kept calling, the phone was busy because everybody else was calling to see how my father was doing. And so when my mom answered, he goes, "What's wrong with the phone? Why is the phone always busy?" And she was just like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" He said, he basically told my mom, "Don't get upset. I'm okay. I made it out in 1993. I made it out then, and I'm going to make it out now. Please don't upset my kids. We're all in God's hands."
What floor was dad on at that time?
He was on the 105th floor,
150.
and the planer had already hit the building, so the plane was beneath him. About
So he knew.
I think it was like 30 floors.
Yeah.
We have transcripts. We have transcripts of my father, and he's quoted speaking to a Port Authority supervisor. They said, "Rocco," over the walkie-talkie. They said, "Rocco, where are you?" And he said, "I'm on the 105th floor." And the gentleman said, "Rocco, we're sending people to come get you." And my father said, "No, don't send anyone up here." He said, "Big smoke." That was his exact quote, was "Big smoke, don't send anyone up here." And I think about that quite often. I say, I would have personally been like, send me a helicopter, the Marines, like do whatever you got to get me out of here. And my father knew, I feel like my father knew what danger it was. And he said, "No, don't send anyone up here."
So, hey, Vinny, you're the same man, right? You're the same man.
If I can be half the man, If I can be half the man my father was, I'll be a
So
good man.
we're gonna interview my pop here in a little bit, and one of the things I always say, and the good news is he doesn't have Facebook, so he's not watching us live, so he doesn't know I'm going to say this. But if I become half the man he is, I'll be doing something in my life. I really will.
God bless Keith. Everything I know,
Vinny,
you are one of the
Vinny, I
greatest
know
men.
you. I know you. I love you. You are you're your father, man.
Thank you,
So
Keith.
very
Thank
proud
you so
of
much.
you.
Love you.
Love
and
you
your
to
family.
death. Sorry. Told you I
Sorry.
was going to cry. So much for being a big ass Marine, huh? Right. So today, you guys, you're gonna go over to the memorial and pay your respects. Tell us a little bit about what is an average. I don't know if this is going to come out right, but on 9/11 in the morning they shut down. This is only for families only. Tell us what that's like, and tell us if that it can't help, but how does that feel? Does that make sense?
It's hard to explain. We never found they
Yeah, I
never
know
found my dad, so this is a cemetery. Like I feel like he's spread across this land here, this property, and I have to say they did such an amazing job with the way they honored the people with the names and the waterfall, and it's every day. I mean, Keith, it's every day that you remember, but
Sure.
you come down here today and I look up and the towers aren't there. And I used to actually work in the World Trade Center in the same building as my father. And he used to come down to the 44th floor when I worked there, and he'd pick me up, and I'd go to the roof and have lunch with him. So
On the roof.
I come down.
Did you go up on the
roof,
outside?
yeah.
Did you go up on the outside on his rig, or did you go inside?
He let me step on his scaffold once, but I'm telling you, he held on to me by my belt so tight he wouldn't let go.
I
He
can
was just
imagine.
Like, get. He was like, get back in here.
I mean,
I think also I probably shouldn't be saying this for legal purposes. He wasn't. He probably wasn't allowed to let me in there. But
it's okay.
It was like a split second that I went up there. But I'd enjoy lunch with him, and I look at some of the places that are still around here, and I just coming down here, I just look at everything, and I remember where things were and where we were together and where we grabbed lunch together, because some of the pizzerias and places are actually still open. So it's just it's a hard feeling to explain.
Yeah. So I know
it brings back.
I know you got an interview at 10:45 with Fox, and we got a couple more minutes before 10:40. I want to give you a breather to take a bit of a breather and spend a little bit of time with your dad before you have to talk to Fox.
Thank you.
But I didn't really have anything planned to talk today. If there's 0 people watching this, all I wanted to do was look you in your face and tell you, I love you, man. Thank you. And anything, our family's always here for your family. And
I love you, Keith, and I appreciate you guys every day. Thank you so much.
I wish you had a little bit more hair on your head, but that's okay. That's a different story.
It's gone. It's
Yeah, well, grass doesn't grow on a busy street. So you got a family gathering this evening, right? Because you this afternoon. So
people always come over. People stop by. Nothing crazy. Just the immediate family comes by. We talk about Dad, and we have a couple drinks and some food, and that's it. I mean, it's been a tradition for 19 years. I go home and people just show up. And
you have to quantify
we reminisce.
the size of your family, though, right? So
I'm having a baptism, and I'm only inviting first cousins and their kids because of the COVID, and it's close to 80 people, and
that's just first cousins.
I have, and that's first cousins. Basically.
That's just first.
We have a
cousins.
huge family.
Yeah,
From my mom and my dad, it's a very big family.
So
Ask him how he's passing it on, carrying the legacy with the next generation of his
That's
family.
literally what I was just, our chemistry is working, Jerry. I was just going to ask, how do you plan to pass this along to your next generation?
My father's birthday was on August 17th, and I brought my daughter down, and I'm actually going to send you the picture, Keith. You got to see it. And she's grabbing the flower on his name, because they always put flowers on the name for whoever's birthday it is. Like the building themselves that's what they do, and she's grabbing the flower, and I plan on bringing her every year. And I honestly, even this year, I wanted to bring her, but I was uncertain with the situation of how many people were going to be here, and I didn't want to expose her to too many people. But it's going to be a tradition that every year, my daughter is going to, hopefully I have more kids, but my kid now, my daughter Meadow, will come and join me for his birthday and for 9/11 and for Father's Day, and and just come here and celebrate his life with me. And there's actually a book out on my dad, and I can't wait until she gets a little older and starts understanding it, so I can read it to her, so she can understand who my father was.
Well, we're going to put that in the link, Vinny. I got you a little bit over. I got you at 10:41.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Yonna and I can't come up because of COVID. New York, Connecticut's not allowing folks from Virginia, but as soon as they can, we're going to come up and see you guys, and we'll get together and smoke a cigar and drink some bourbon.
Yes, I appreciate it, and looking forward to that, Keith.
I love you, man. Thanks for doing this.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Comments. Iris Luck. Love you, Iris. My brother says the same thing when he compares himself to our father. We are blessed to have incredibly loving role models. Thank you for sharing your hearts. Kelsey, thank you for this today, Keith. Barbara Lundgren, love you, Barb.
There you go.
Thank you all for your service. Comments continuing. Jennifer Warren, wonderful show. Thank you for your service. 3 incredible men. More comments coming in. Keith's going to welcome his father and his friend Richie.
Richie Constantino. Mm-hmm.
Richie Constantino to the program in T-minus 2 minutes. They will be live from the firehouse.
We're gonna call them in live from the Lake Monticello Fire Department. We were going. There's a monument there. We were trying to set it up so we can actually do it in front of the monument, but the road noise and Wi-Fi and stuff didn't let it happen. But before we do that, maybe today's a really good day. If you haven't reached out, hopefully your father's still alive. If you haven't reached out, just reach out and say, hey, Pop or Dad or whatever you call them, I love you. That's it. Don't have to be anything more than that. Love you, miss you. And so if you
Vinny Kamaj, guys, walking through the streets of Manhattan, chatting with Keith Smith 3 years ago, and literally telling Fox News and CNN that you're going to wait for Real Talk with Keith Smith. I think that speaks to the emotional connection the Kamaj family has with the Smith family. That was undoubtedly, Keith, one of the best interviews we have ever done.
We were talking, that was 3 years ago. I mean, we've been doing this coming up on show 505, which I haven't figured out. That it's pretty close. We're around 445, 446, something like that right now. And to go ahead and look back that far. Hey, look, I just want to give thanks to Judah. This I did to him on the fly. Without Judah, the show would not be what we do every day and be 3 days a week and be a success. But I just wanted that was a very touching story to listen to. And what we're going to do, kind of wrap up the show today, is Jerry and I are going to chat a little bit. But I'd really like everybody to listen to the last 6 or 8 minutes of that show when Jerry and I are talking. And it's a very raw, emotional conversation. Lots of tears, lots of seeing who we really are as humans. Because I think at that point when we were doing that, Jerry, I think we just like forgot that there was cameras on, and we forgot there was microphones on, and this was just Keith and Jerry having a conversation. But please, guys, I didn't really have much for today, and I just wanted folks to not forget about today, but really to go out and be kind to somebody. A random person, just be kind to somebody. Trust me, it'll make your day. You will feel much better about yourself if you do something random. Pay for a person's coffee in front of you or right behind you or whatever it is. But do a little random act of kindness today. Trust me, you'll feel a lot better about yourself.
Keith Smith, guys. Real Talk with Keith Smith, online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. This is the kind of guy that you want fighting for you at the closing table, undoubtedly. And I want to close the program with the final, is it 7 or 8 minutes, Judah?
Yeah.
Final 7 or 8 minutes we're going to replay for you of our 20-year anniversary show right here on Real Talk with Keith Smith. This is 3 years ago, the final 7 or 8 minutes of Real Talk with Keith Smith from 3 years ago. One of the most emotional moments in the history of this network that I think is over 3,000 shows deep. Judah Wickower, thank you kindly for your work. Keith Smith, thank you kindly for your work. 7 or 8 minutes from Real Talk with Keith Smith from 3 years ago.
So a little setup for the rest of the week, though, right? Because please tune back in. Wednesday we have Denise Remy, and Friday we've got a couple of lineup that we're working on. So, but today was just to be about remembering and paying tribute to the folks that gave their lives.
There we go. All right, Judah, in 3, 2, 1.
I don't want to sound disrespectful to people that are taking their time to spend with us, which is I got up early this morning. I prepared. I went for a bike ride, and as I was bike riding, just the honor that somebody's prepared to spend an hour or whatever amount of time we're talking. I don't remember. I don't even know how long we've been talking for. Out of their day to listen.
92 minutes.
92 minutes. Wow. To listen to me and to you and to us. It's just honor. It's just I can't put it to words. And when I can't put something to words, it's a problem.
First time I've ever seen that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think to wrap up around Pop and Richie and Lake Monticello Fire Department and all the other fire services that are watching and the other EMS services that are watching and the PD and all that stuff. And, again, putting all this crap aside that we're in the middle of right now, why don't you help them help you, right? Reach out to them, particularly the fire services, particularly Lake Monticello. They work on volunteer cash, right? Funds, right? And if they don't receive volunteer money, they can't serve you. When you dial that phone or you hit 911 and you have an emergency, these guys show up, regardless if you contributed or not. So if you can, reach your hand in your pocket and help them out a little bit.
Shelley Campbell, I love me some Lenny and some Richie.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for your service, guys. Lots of respect for them.
Yep.
Man, your community is watching this in force right now.
Yeah, it's...
Iris, I love you, Iris. Stop making us cry, guys.
Yeah, I'm doing a little better than you
I
are.
know. You started talking about, got me thinking about my dad.
Yeah, well, go see him.
I'm blessed.
Could. I'm blessed. Well,
Mom doesn't want it.
Oh,
she's afraid of.
Yeah. Well, do you Skype
the
him?
health?
Do you
Yeah,
Zoom him?
all the time.
Okay. Yeah,
it's not the same.
Yeah, just reach. I know. Yeah,
what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Jerry, I love you. I consider you a very close friend.
Same.
And I wish I could give you some advice, but I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to respect Mom's wishes, and so. But I'm blessed. I get to see that face all the time, right? Like I said, I get to sometimes maybe not so pleasant. But yeah, we're super blessed. It's my grandson, which is his great grandson, is almost 2 years old, of 20 months or however old he is. There's two pops. There's me. He goes pop, and he sees my father, and he goes pop. So
awesome.
yeah, it's. I'm super blessed to have a family. And the family that I have, and sometimes we get into each other's faces, but at the end of the day,
You hug it out.
I hug it out.
Yeah.
Now with masks, but we hug it out. So thank you for letting me do this, Jerry. I know I want to say thank you to you. I want to say thank you to Judah.
Of course.
I pushed you guys a lot the last 2 days to prep for this, and you guys has always stepped up. And I want to say thank you to Vinny, to share his story. And I cannot overstate how important it is that he actually told Fox News, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you now. I'm going to talk to you then, because I'm talking to Keith and Jerry and his thing. So just first class, first rate people. And if I ever grow up become anything like these people, I'll be doing something.
Guys, this is Real Talk. It's a show about real estate. Today it's a show about
Real life.
more important things.
That's
real
exactly
life.
right.
And
Exactly right.
what this man's doing with his show is shining a spotlight on people that deserve a spotlight. And he's saying, we have this following, but we're not going to talk about business. We're going to
Today's
talk
not a
about
business
the community.
thing. Today's not a business thing.
And that's a reflection of his character. Keith Smith, Yonna Smith, the Yes Team Realtors. Tuesdays and Fridays, 10:15 to about 11:40.
Ish.
On the I